And we're
Hello,
here.
hello.
What's up, y'all? We're slightly early, but I think the extra 30 seconds is probably worth it.
Yeah, clearly I'm new to pressing the countdown clip. So thanks for bearing with the new technology.
Thanks for popping into
Welcome
the
to all
chat.
of you in the chat. Yeah, we can see your chat and we can even bring it up.
Yeah,
Look at little
there's
K-Mac there.
frankly a lot more folks than we expected. Uh,
Yeah,
and remember to guard your privacy and abide by the community guidelines according to YouTube.
exactly. You're responsible for your own anonymity, Anon.
What's
That's
up,
on
Kevin?
you.
Who's frames? Is that King?
Yes, that is King.
Cool. I see Aiko, see Gina, Penguin. Thank y'all all for rolling through. Ivy, of course, been here super early, and then Woof. I don't know if he got bored and left, but
Short attention spans of the internet age.
VK
Why
GM, thanks
can't he wait for us for an hour?
Ooh, there's Sam. Sam as as their candle alter ego.
Oh, that movie's here. Well, we're called Larkin. All right.
Nice.
Akko, Gina.
Woof, you won't put us
Awesome.
on speaker.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be
Melanin.
blabbering over your stand up.
Yeah. Woof, woof, woof.
Yeah.
Is this
So,
focusing on midlife crisis? Can you say more about that? I have no idea what you mean. So shit. But the so Christian, what were you saying?
I think that's in reference to the Beef Chris and Barthead show being about for the
Oh,
Farcaster middle class.
gotcha. Don't worry. I care about class issues too. We'll talk about it.
I was gonna
While
say,
I am
what I said that Cameron's an okay Art Lou substitute. Actually, they are surprisingly similar.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or not, if I'm being honest.
No, I loves you. I loves you. Actually, the moment we were talking about ending the show, the first person he thought of was actually you. So
Well,
I
that's
was
really
very
good.
calculated in how I reached out to you about starting the show.
You know, we all are running mechanisms within mechanisms. What's up, Ash?
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm Kristen, your local neighborhood chaplain for spirituality, and also a podcast host type comedian. And Cameron.
And I'm Cameron, and I didn't come up with a good intro.
Oh,
But we're here. No,
you know who he is.
Army, startups, Farcaster, other stuff.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into.
Mhm.
Especially when we're talking about, what are we talking about again, Kristen, today?
We are talking about speed and gotta go fast.
Got to go fast. I think speed is like, I don't remember why we picked this one to be the first one. Maybe it's like a motivation for us to just work faster on this.
I was like, we cannot be hypocrite. We gotta launch now.
Yeah. So first learning for anyone who's watching this like production happen in real time, just like whatever you're trying to do, just like make that thing public, and then people have to like look at you and see whether you did the thing or not.
Exactly, public accountability. And my question for you this week, Cameron, is
Yep.
were you actually fast this week in putting together the show and in your Seymour stuff?
I think Seymour, no. I think for OK Banger, yes. But like not in the way of like this fast, but in the way of like there's a lot of different ways to be fast, and only one of them is like moving very quickly. Like other ways to be fast is by like saying no to things that are going to be like side quests from the main thing that you're doing. And so I think like for OK Banger, while we like didn't do a huge quantity of things, like we did a quantity, but not like a crazy quantity. Like neither of us were working 12-hour days on this. But like what we did
Shows for
do,
you.
I mean, you were messaging me a lot, so maybe it's already an unequal partnership and you're carrying the load. And I don't want that to be the case. But like what I did notice about the speed this week on my end was like every time I was trying to get into a side quest, or we were trying to get into a side quest about like, oh, maybe we can reshake up the colors or whatever. Like, no, we picked them. This is the thing that we decided was good for our first version, maybe first season of the show. So I think in terms of that speed, I'm pretty happy with it. What about you? Were you fast?
Yes, with an asterisk, which we'll talk about in the rest of the show. I think you and I really hopped onto the whole. In fact, we got like the channel name really early and the URL like right away. And actually, okbanger.eth is also ours, which I'm
Yeah,
very pleased about.
snagged it. Shout out.
We
I
front
bought.
ran everybody.
Yeah. Well,
Oh
so
my god, this meme better not die.
the
Yeah.
oh yeah Aiko, about Seymour, just
Mhm.
there's a lot going on. I got family stuff going on, and so like sometimes you just can't carry all the rocks in your rucksack that you'd like to. Like I still move forward, just not as fast as that I wanted. And also, why, whoever you are, thanks for logging into YouTube. But
Mhm.
yeah, Kristen, I think it very much is. We did well in the spots that we wanted to do well in so far. This could
Mhm.
totally bomb. Who knows?
Exactly. All right. Well, we're gonna get right into our bangers of today.
Yeah,
So Cameron will be showcasing some of them. We'll take turns. And
awesome.
hopefully
So,
it's just not only about like showing you like what we think is funny, but we are gonna do the cringe thing where we explain why it's good so we can learn from them.
only way to be like good is to like embrace the cringe, frankly. But the a little bit more context about like the show's format. uh we don't know if it's gonna suck or not, so we're just gonna roll into it. And then anything that y'all like, please make sure to let us know through the comments, through these like chat, through the replies, through sharing on Farcaster and other places. Whatever you liked, tell us and we'll do more of it. Whatever you thought was dumb, tell us and we'll change the format. Jeff, thanks for dropping in. All right, so let me get this first banger up. So right now we're going to go through a couple rapid fire honorable mentions leading up to what, like, for us was the best banger the past few days. All right, so present right here, share screen. Let's see. Let me close all of these bank account tabs. Just kidding. I have OPSEC. Um, I think we got to start with this classic catchers like repost. Ole Banger and OK Banger. I just feel like we couldn't not show this one. Yeah, cringe fest. This is what this is. But the reason why I think this works for me, I don't know about you, Kristen, but like the why this one's so funny for me is that the OK Banger meme doesn't exist on other places. So it's not like somebody was trying to riff on this on Farcaster. It was like on Twitter
Oh.
somewhere, because this is a tweet. This is a screenshot of a tweet of somebody being like, "Hey, this like Le Banger is just funny in and of itself because it's like a either a
Mhm.
French joke or an
Mhm.
unintentionally like funny post." And then somebody's commenting about it, and then it also so happens to like link up with the Farcaster meta. So that's what's funny about it to me.
That's really great, and I think, like, that we're kind of, like, in this 9-gag era of of
Very much so.
Farcaster right now, where we're just trying to, like, bring, like, copy everybody else's content. You can see even Dan's, like, copying TikTok videos. So, any sort of, like, arbitrage of funny stuff that's on other platforms should come over to Farcaster. It'll do pretty well, but you're right, the twist makes it even better.
Well, so I mean, at the risk of divulging my secrets, like I very much consider Farcaster, like my profile, as a way to curate the funny shit or like interesting shit or useful shit that I see other places, and then
Mhm.
like make the Cameron channel and my profile like a concentrated stream of that, like of the stuff that I like. And so, I
Yeah,
mean,
like, there's a high percentage of, brain rot TikTok
yeah,
slash cat content for sure.
yeah, I mean, I love the cats. I love the brain rot. There's nothing like I'm gonna be me on the internet because it's really hard to do anything else. The other thing that like I don't think people who haven't spent a lot of time like deeply thinking about how social apps and like people interacting with content on the internet works is like one of the big reasons why TikTok spread itself
Mhm.
is that little tag at the end of the video and the sound effect. Like you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that bloop bloop sound.
Yeah, the bloop bloop. So the bloop bloop, before the other platforms realized what TikTok was doing,
Mhm.
that was like how people learned about TikTok. And so people would
Ah.
repost TikTok content to YouTube Shorts or like YouTube in general. And because like you used to upload TikToks to YouTube
Mhm.
and it would just have the black bars on both sides and it would be the traditional horizontal video with a vertical video format.
Mhm.
And there's also a whole drama about vertical versus horizontal video that like clearly vertical won. But the anyway, long story short, like I think Farcaster needs to get a lot better at getting its shit shared other places.
Mhm.
What's up, Farcuck?
Is
Thanks
that
for
random arrow?
it probably is.
That is so
Um,
funny. All right.
and
Well,
then
okay. Well, while we
yeah,
think about
the
our
next one,
own
next
personal
one.
blub blub sound, pull up the next one.
All right, we gotta shout out Chris Martz, chrismartz.eth, which I realized I wasn't following, now following. Gotta go fast. I think it kind of speaks for itself, you know? You classic amplification meme and a message I think we can all get behind. I'm sorry that you've been staring at Unlonely.
Didn't you
We're
see the chat I left? Redirecting you very gently. All right. All right. Yes,
all
I
right.
think yeah, a Sonic meme will always get us our attention.
Yeah, Sonic always hits. I did myself because we wanted to go for maximum cringe, but I just keep laughing at this one. Like, how do you not look at this? Think about where we are on the internet. Think about the new AI video crap that just came out. Like, Chris, have you seen any of those tweets about that?
Yes, I think so. Slash, you linked them to me, I think.
Yeah. Like, so we are getting closer. Like, I found a GitHub repo this morning that lets you basically deep fake with like a single photograph onto a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
So I might play around with that at some point. This one is another honorable mention. I didn't think like the meme itself was pretty good, but it was a very high effort thread.
Mm-hmm.
And so it ended up being a banger because of the thread. I don't particularly agree with all of it because I think it puts people in a box a little bit more than I want, but it's a good thread. And we'll drop these in the show notes, by the way. If you haven't seen any of these, we're going to figure out how to display the show notes in a useful format.
No
all
promises.
Right. Yeah. And then last one, B16Z, new account that I found the other day. I don't know how new that person is, but I thought it was a pretty funny name because it's obviously A16Z, B16Z is a good riff.
Oops, I didn't get it.
But this one, I love really shitty VHS quality like images. And I don't think you can get like much deeper into the Tim and Eric school of comedy without something like this, and that's the kind of humor that I like really resonate with. So these were my honorable mentions. MDMA 16Z, I haven't heard about that. That's really funny.
We can bring people up so we can refer to things in context.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is the benefit of YouTube. All right.
No, but the trick here is that Kristen and I can both bring stuff up so we can actually pull from each other, which is funny.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to present the one we're going to dive into today. I really admire Nownish for being able to pull these up so fast on the GM Farcaster.
Yeah, we gotta get our tactics up. What's up, Yusuf? Thanks for dropping by.
All right. Can you all see my screen? Trying a new policy?
Can indeed.
All right. Yeah. So this is our special cast. We need a banger of the episode.
Yeah. Banger of the last few days because it's not banger of the week.
I know.
We're doing 2 a week.
2 streams a week.
like we said, y'all, this is a work in progress. If y'all have a good name for whatever this crowning achievement in memitude is, please drop it because we're creative, but we're not that creative if we're being straight.
Exactly. So why we love this one is like, as you all know, like Daddy Dan is trying to always tell us all what to say, what to think.
Oh, Daddy Dan.
And right now I feel like, you know, we're in the Moxie reply farming era. Yeah. And like, of course, like him being so like, you know, full of juicy money, Moxie Points is experiencing the best. So he says putting his foot down and saying that every cast with mid replies will earn you a mute. And I love how King immediately turned it into a copy pasta, which is like, so Cameron and I said it's great because it is both the highest quality and lowest effort at the same time. Yeah,
like the art of the copy pasta is maybe Daddy Dan belongs in a I don't even know what word you're trying to do there, but I'm not going to try to say it on stream. But yeah, like copy pasta is maybe there's some meme historians out there, but like maybe it's one of the oldest forms of memes out there because you could like it goes all the way back to IRC days.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat knows what IRC is? Please drop it to prove that yeah, that's your proof of
You're
work.
old.
Yeah, proof of elderly. No short casts, please. Indeed. But so gonna use Buoy. Yeah, Jeff, tell us who originated Daddy Dan. Because if not, OK Banger did, but I don't think we did.
I don't know. I must have pulled it out from my Farcast is subconscious. It's a very dark pool with that like archangel scary thing in there.
Just how we think about the platform. But so yeah, so we have an interesting, like the interesting thing about Dan Authority to me is that very rarely is it what like, you know, yeah, ew, old people, ew. But like very rarely is Dan's power hard power, like in the political science sense. Like hard power is like guns pointed at you, and like soft power is diplomacy and persuasion, and like obviously there's stuff in the middle of that, like embargoes and sanctions and stuff. But like Dan very rarely, Ash, that's pretty funny. Proof of old is pretty funny. But like Dan mutes people very rarely. He like explicitly bans people or shadow bans people very rarely. Art might disagree. But like in the grand scheme of like a giant app with a ton of people, the fact that he just says something and like most of the time the threat of doing the thing is like the thing that gets people to do it, not actually doing the thing, I find really interesting. Obviously in this case, he's like saying, I'm going to mute you. Which is a little bit of a departure, but maybe we're in the Farcaster era where he has to do that. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Kristen?
Well, there's no stick otherwise in the carrot and stick situation.
Yeah. Jeff is proud to have been muted by Daddy Dan.
I had to bring that one up. Yeah, and so over here, I think the other like situation that this is pointing out is that there's this whole like, you know, even by definition, the name of the show, OK Banger, implies there's like banger cast and there's like mid casts. And I feel like that's not so useful of a meta, because now we're like everybody's making a judgment call, and that gets into the whole like who's the tastemakers, is it the OGs, that kind of thing. And instead, I want us to think about what's clear and what's confusing, because oftentimes, like, I don't reply some people who I think are wanting me to reply because I am literally confused. And actually, it's like a camera, and on a different level, even when I see these replies that are asking obvious questions that are obviously answered by the cast, I start to question myself. I'm like gaslighted by these replies. And going, did I not communicate clearly? And I start to like read my own cast over and over and be like, what did I miss? What could I have said better? So I think like that's why it's a little bit like it's an opportunity here for us to be more clear in what we say.
That's interesting, because like I really try to communicate clearly, because like there's kind of like a saying about like building software of like you basically have to make it so obvious that like somebody who's on the subway holding a baby, you know, homeless person is yelling at them, also they're drunk. I don't know why you're drunk holding a baby, but you know, sometimes life happens. But so like that person has to be able to understand how to use your thing. And that's kind of how I try to make my posts. But like the root of jokes and the root of humor is like context, and honestly like a shared conspiracy a lot of the time. Like you and I know something about like a fact of reality that maybe other people don't get, and so like it's interesting to think about like how clear you have to be to communicate with a bunch of people while also creating some sort of connection by being like specific enough that that person can you know, maybe have some sort of relationship with the thing that you post. All that said, I think most of the replies are just trying to take advantage of making money. Like, which is fine. Like, I don't love it, but like I get it. That's what the incentives are making.
I love Ivies. the only way to be safe in farming is to only talk to your own GPT on Farcaster. Yeah, or your own old parody accounts. Yeah, I think like that's where like I understand, right? Obviously, like people are farming those who have more Moxie points or whatever.
Yep.
But the thing is, it's not gonna work in the long term, right?
No,
Like
never does.
these are exactly. It's like I think what's being missed out is the long term game of like being friends and like genuinely replying. But I also understand it's really hard, right? If you don't speak English as your first language, like the inside games that requires like we have layers and layers of inside jokes on Farcaster. You actually
Yep.
you don't have an onboard ramp to participate either.
Yeah, like it's hard because the only reason why community in jokes have any power is the
Mhm.
fact that other people don't get them. Like that
Mhm.
doesn't mean you like explicitly need to gate people, but like a lot of the magic comes from having like been a part, like feeling like you're a part of something.
Mhm.
The feigning Dan or Ran the feigning ignorance part.
It could be Dan. We haven't ruled that out.
Yeah, no, I might honestly, I don't think Dan's funny enough to be Random Arrow. Like
You're
the
right.
like
He
like
can't go
Dan
from bad dad jokes to like edgelord humor in 2 seconds.
because it's Sam, thank you so much for that. And yeah, Melon, people definitely do adapt. The the thing with Dan though is like he's obviously a very talented and capable dude. What I don't think a lot of people think about enough, and someone called me out for saying this the other day, but I think it's really important to say, he was an avid Eve Online player for a like during a significant chunk of his like developmental period of his life. And if you
Right.
aren't familiar with Eve Online, like
Mhm.
you can basically think of it as like a space economy simulator with like space battles. And it is like known not only for its like how you have to be like rabidly focused on like accounting and a bunch of like shit that I would never do in my spare time for fun, but like you
Mhm.
have to be like very meticulous and you have to be really really good at coordinating with large groups of people in like your spacing guilds and stuff. Yeah, Ivy, it is always Eve Online or Dota. And so like anytime you look at Dan's actions, just think of the Eve player that is like figuring out how to do whatever he's trying to do.
Yeah, we're just the little characters in Eve Online, by the way. I don't know whether anyone's noticed that. We are the NPCs.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
And then Gina says, I think if given the participants accurate guideline, yeah, I see, and I see your replies to Dan, right? Because oftentimes he'll say like, don't be mid, and then it'll be completely unclear what mid means.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is like I'm trying my best, and I see even like Shoni in his very sarcastic cast actually make really good points about what is not mid.
Yeah.
And I think it's very tricky, right? Because the more we point things out, sometimes it's like, oh, it's so like prescriptive and we don't want to like tell people what to do. But that's why we are really enthusiastic about this show, because we can really showcase is like what really makes something entertaining, at least to us.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, the thing that I love about content is that even though we're doing this show, we don't really get to pick what's good. Like everybody on Farcaster gets to pick what's good. And like obviously Jeff will be in there like pointing out who's actually doesn't think it's good and they're trying to boost stuff. But like
Mhm.
on a long enough timeline, the best content wins. And what that means is like whatever the internet wants it to mean. And that's really cool to me, at least.
Mhm.
Oh, catching up on the chat. No, I have not stopped replying to you, Aiko, because I think you're a farmer. I've stopped replying because every time I open the app, like I just miss replies because there's so much stuff. There's just so many notifications because of all these people are trying to farm. And a couple of them, I think, probably like what we do. But yeah, Sam, Jeff is a little bit of the Karen of Farcaster right now. Oh my goodness. But no, we're not like muting y'all. We're not trying to not interact with you. I mean, like if you DM me 10 times in a row telling me to follow you back, like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking mute you. I've already done that. But like most people are just like, just if you earnestly
Mhm.
try to engage and you add value to every
Mhm.
conversation you're a part of, like that's cool. That's how you build actual friends and not just like try and get fucking moxie or fake internet points or whatever.
I think this is really like proving that Rand is Jeff this whole time. Like the interactions are way too sus.
But I don't know, because like Rand has some context on jokes that I don't think Jeff was here for.
Oh,
And
right.
like maybe
Maybe he
Jeff is just,
studied.
that's true. He is the data dude. He could have gone all the way back.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to hop into a quick ad read. Very, very excited to have our first sponsor for this show, and it's related to our theme today. So our
We're paid
sponsor
already.
is, yes, we're paid already. It's all on chain to okbanger.eth. So our sponsor is receipts.xyz. So this is a fantastic, yeah, fantastic sports tracking app that works on iOS for now, and it is by Victor and Steph. So that's at VM Victor. And like, you know, the reason why I really love it is because of, you know, this very topic of speed. But I think what we're going to dive a bit into is the fact that how do we motivate ourselves to do something quickly and repetitively? And we have to take advantage of the fact that we already do all sorts of random things motivated intrinsically, right? Many of us here are, you know, love crypto and coins and leaderboards, etc. Imagine the enthusiasm you have for being early and for being on top of things, but for a running app. So you can see here that I'm one of those weirdos who have nothing on their phone.
And that's crazy. I didn't know this before this stream chat. Kristen might be a serial killer. This is crazy. I am
a serial killer. Black background. Like these are all the icons I have showing on the screen.
So hold on. So Kristen opens her phone and then just stares back at the abyss and her face every time she goes into her phone. That's crazy.
Correct. And then I'm like, okay, my Aura ring and receipts, and you know, the clock to set my little alarms, and the map. That's all I need in life. Okay, so the reason I don't have forecast right on here is because I already click it too much. I don't need to remind it every single day to click it.
Me too.
But yeah, the receipts, like it works by connecting to your existing health tracking devices. So it works with the Apple Watch, it works with the Aura Ring, and it connects with Apple Health as well. And it pulls your data magically through API integration. So like, you know, you don't have to click another thing to track. And all you have to do when you log into the app is pull down to refresh, just like Instagram, and you will get points. Okay. For FCC reasons, these points do not actually mean anything for now. So, however, Victor and Steph have historically given out gift cards, etc., as a reward for using receipts. So this, I think, it's one of those, like, it's so early, the points mean nothing for now. But if you accumulate them, they will mean something in the future. But yeah, DYORNFA. So
also, Victor and Steph are dope. So if you haven't checked out receipts, like, and you do anything with fitness data, it's 100% worth it. And also it's like a really cool way to connect with other Farcasters.
Exactly. And lastly, related to banger content, here's the thing. I think like there is a Farcaster elitist thing when it comes to like showing off the workouts you did.
Yeah,
those casts do tend to do really well. So yeah, if you with receipts will automatically generate an image that you can use to show off how much workouts, how many workouts you did. If you add a little picture of you actually doing the workout, like doing a run, or if you're like Ted taking a photo of yourself in an awkward angle, that is something that you can totally do on receipts. And you can also, if you're like me, stalk Keckers through the leaderboard as well. So again, that's receipts.xyz, and it's also the channel /receipts. Thank you to our sponsor.
First ad read. This is historic. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Because of the oil riches in the region. Ivy's just going on an odyssey in this chat right now. I have no idea what's happening here. But yeah. Also, the design in receipts is really cool. Like, they're great designers. All right. And if y'all have any questions about receipts, ask them. Oh, let me find their profile. We can drop that in the chat as well. I dropped the URL. And if anyone in the chat wants to sponsor one of our shows, just reach out. We are doing more, obviously. Preston Byrne. All right, let's find Victor. All right, y'all. So we just kind of rapid fired through what we thought was going to be the first half of our show. We actually hit the timeline pretty well, which I was excited. We're a little bit behind because we were trying to do like maybe a little bit shorter than an hour show, but still going pretty well. Like so far, anyone have any feedback on like what went well, what didn't? While I'm getting Victor's profile up.
First ad read I didn't mind on YouTube. Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Maybe
That's pretty sick.
I'll follow you. Maybe I haven't been following you this whole time.
Yeah. The only stuff about the Ran account that I kind of find like weird is sometimes the horny posting. But like there was like a micro
that era was the reason why.
Yeah. But like that isn't really back.
Yeah.
Sam, no feedback, no notes. Perfect. 10 out of 10. 100 out of 100. A++. Sigma. Skibbity Ohio Riz. Sorry, I dissociated for a bit.
Are you trying to get us into the algo for Gen Alpha or something?
No, I just lost my mind.
I see.
Right.
It's okay. So we can't be worse than the Woofy here.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, that's the other person that I suspect Ran to be. I think it's the Woofy. That's possible.
I could see that. See that maybe. Yeah, I could see that. I'm not convinced, but I could like if someone told me that, I'd be like, oh yeah, I guess I could see that. Wolf's just like he barks like he's super tough, but he's very, very nice. And so Ran can be a little bit meaner than Wolf, but maybe that's how he gets it out. Kristen is Ran.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest twist of the century.
It would be funny if it was like V. That would be out of left field.
That would be cool, but I don't think he has time.
Yeah, no, I don't. He's definitely not.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the big brain segment. I imagine the meme of the person with such a big brain, they're sitting on it like a chair. Like that's
VK with the Waj. I could see it being Waj. But so this section is tentatively named Slow K Banger because it's going to take a little bit more time to get through. I'm not sure how much I love it, but so there's a famous like Paul Graham essay about growth. Obviously, there's a ton of fucking famous Paul Graham essays, but this one specifically, like the first sentence is a startup is a company that's designed to grow fast. And like Christian and I were going back and forth on like what we're going to have as like the seminal piece of content that we're going to like talk about. And the nature of casts and tweets is that they're ephemeral. And like ephemeral means they like go away really fast. And good bangers like come out of nowhere and they like make a big splash. But like, I also think good bangers have a lot of like replay value. And so like Kristen, as we were going through trying to figure out like how we were going to like take some sort of element of like, okay, a bunch of stuff's happening now, but also it's important to figure out longitudinally what's like good and useful to spend time on. Like what was going through your head as we were picking what piece to put in.
Exactly. Because I think the cost of being speedy and fast is the price of chaos and like temporal content that doesn't really last. Yeah. And I remember actually one of the reasons why I met you is because I was really an admirer of your writing. I don't think you even know this. Nice. Yeah. And then you have like this wonderful Substack with like long thunk pieces, as we call them now for some reason. And I was like, man, this person is smart. I think I can get smarter by hanging around. And so I think like that's it, right? Like no matter what like growth you get on Farcaster, like based on memes, etc., it's not super meaningful unless you are number one, selling a SaaS or something. That's usually really great. But also the other way, if you're a super word sell like me, is the evergreen long thong pieces route, so that you can then use that to leverage into other opportunities. So that's why we're a sucker for these like thong pieces that will feature. And then we chose this one because it's about speed.
Yeah, and like another way to say the like Wiser, thanks for plugging it in the chat. It's wiser.xyz. Your ISP might be blocking it because AT&T hates .xyz.
And it's also spelled WYSR, which is totally a reasonable way to spell the word.
Well, okay, can anyone guess what it stands for, or what I thought it would be funny if it stood for? If anybody gets
for something,
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, I thought it just was a funny way to spell the word wiser.
It is a funny way to spell the word wiser, but like very rarely do I unintentionally do goofy shit. That's not true. I unintentionally do goofy shit all the time. But for the sake of me sounding cool on this podcast, I would like for it to be meaningful. No, like I did intend it this way, but also worked out better than I thought. So, oh, DeWolfie got it. DeWolfie got it. Let me pull this one up. Did we talk about that, Wolf? I think we did.
There's no way you got that without him telling you. No way.
Wolf's pretty. Wolf is pretty smart. Oh yeah. So this is also true. You can quote me on this in any major publication. I will endorse this quote.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Anyway. Fine.
So the way that I've been thinking about like speed in terms of content stuff is like the difference between TikTok attention and YouTube attention. Mm-hmm. And TikTok attention is very, very fast. It has a lot of speed. And while like stuff sometimes like takes a while to get off the ground, like as we saw with like the goofy Hawk Tuah stuff, you can go from nobody on the planet knowing your name to everybody on the planet knowing your face and business, like really, really fast.
Yeah.
But unless you like figure out a way to convert that attention, that like TikTok attention into something that matters and is meaningful to you, it's, I don't know. It just kind of seems like a trauma to me. Like, do you have any experience with that, by the way? Like
I was going to add that, like, this reminds me of what Visa, who's more famous on Twitter, has said, that, you know, you just have to always be ready. Like, you know, because your moment may come at any time, and it would be like the Hawk Tuah girl, where just like, oh my God, left field. And it's like, do you have the body of content and the things you want to say to be on board with that? And the thing is, the Hawk Tuah girl was ready. Isn't she like a Bitcoin maxi or something?
I didn't do research because like that's a risky Google. If I'm
I know, but I think I was like really impressed that, like, you know, she's not a one hit wonder. She's already like going on shows and then like has things to say. So yeah, and then I think that Wolfie's bringing up Reagan as another example, the Australian breakdancer.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. The you know, I'm not a break dancer. I'm not in the culture. I would defer. Like, I think the last thing the internet needs is more white dudes like opining on hip hop culture. But the you know, that clearly wasn't a good dance. But all right. There's a Ray Gun talk to Woofy. What's on Ray Gun talk? I haven't been on TikTok that much these past few days.
My impression is that there are these like TikToks, what is people pretending to be Reagan, which I totally mistook for the real person for a while. Oh yeah, like I think Reagan did make an organization that her husband was the judge. Yeah, I remember reading about that, and I was like, dang, this is a long game. and basically, yeah, like the whole organization is set up. She got herself in. And if you have seen like videos of her like dancing after the Olympics in the closing, she's actually pretty much better than she did in the actual competition. To really nail the fact that she was actually like being campy on purpose.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe not a choice I would have made, but I respect the choice.
Her PhD is in cultural moments.
How big is her like web following?
I think it wasn't that big until now. It's like literally her PhD is in how to meme. And then she was like, ta-da, I am a meme. And I'm like, God dang it.
I personally am going to need to see it play out a little bit more before I have like a firm opinion on whether I support that or not.
All right. Yeah, this might be misinformation. Please do not quote this segment about Reagan.
Or do.
But yeah. So back to the Paulgram.
Yeah.
And by the way, I noticed the moment we said we're going to go through a Paulgram essay, people dropped.
Oh, did they? That's really funny. Good to know. Maybe
I can't tell whether it's because they hate Paulgram or they don't want to go through talk about a thong piece. I need more information, people. Tell me in Farcaster.
That's true. I mean, like, I'm also like trying to figure out like, so we have like this essay which like people follow
Mhm.
like it's the Bible. And there's like this whole corpus of like startup knowledge. Sam, good to know. We'll have to figure out funnier stuff to actually no. This is we're a Trojan horse for getting better in your life. I think that's really what Kristen and I want to do is be like interesting enough that you keep the podcast on and then you accidentally feel better afterwards.
Well, I also feel like this segment is more like expectations versus reality because like we
Mhm.
can nerd out on or read all these like thong pieces, but in reality, whether we execute them, like Sam, you know how me and Cameron really are. Like I think
Yeet.
that itself is the comedy. Our ever Sisyphean task of trying to meet an ideal set by some startup founder who got famous in the 90s. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really interesting part of like following the content arcs of a lot of the tech entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and like the ones that realize that, oh, if distribution is really the most important thing, then you need to fucking yeet tweets into the ether more. But like the one thing that I do think is really interesting to like talk about in the context of like being a human and trying to live your life
Mhm.
is like the way that he describes startup growth and like applying that to a person and if that is something that makes sense. And so
Yeah,
the
so maybe
first
we should
period,
give some context as to what the essay, the highlights that we're talking about.
yeah, so the three phases which I kind of got obsessed with is like there's an initial period of slow or no growth while the startup tries to figure out what it's doing.
The sad face.
Most people on Varcaster, like both as like creators and entrepreneurs, are in this phase where there's like, maybe they got like a boost of caffeine or cocaine with the auto follow list, like frankly myself. But like the reality is like none of these people have any fucking clue what they're doing in the like grand scheme of things. The second phase is like as they figure out how to make something a lot of people want and like how to reach those people, like they figure out the product and the distribution, it like
Mhm.
fucking shoots up. And I felt a little bit of this with actually Seymour in the past few weeks. Like I frankly don't think the product's in the spot where it needs to be, but like especially with the direct casts, which I know Kristen you're getting, like people have responded to those in a way that they like nobody has responded to other features to, which is like a really interesting growth curve.
Yeah, yeah.
And Sam, you do know some shit. You definitely know about candles. But the last phase is like every successful startup will grow into a big company, growth will slow, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But like at some point, every marketing channel, every distribution channel, every like thing that you do gets tapped out or it like has diminishing returns. And so like Kristen, we both studied people a lot in our like different like in very different ways with our career path.
Mhm.
Is that
I'm
how
studying all of
people?
you, by the way, chat. I'm studying.
Yeah,
Just want you to know.
this whole show is an experiment for Kristen and I just to creep on y'all. So
Yeah,
sorry.
exactly. Yeah, I think that's the funny thing about the Moxie farming meta. I'm like, I'm farming everybody too, I'm farming for your attention. So
Yeah, yeah,
thank
yeah.
you, thank you.
So give me your data. No, the startup's a company that's confused. But so, Kristen, do you think people should try to follow this arc? This like fuck around, hyper growth, slow down?
I think if you are hanging out on Firecaster, you're probably this type of person, right? Because we
Hmm.
don't have like LinkedIn corporate types, which I think like their lives are not compatible with this framework. Like
Yeah.
by definition, people who are like into crypto trading, who are into making SaaSes, like yeah, we're all on this like
Dopamine
try
junkies.
like making a million little small bets and trying to see which one will take off.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't really think about like people in general on Farcaster being that way.
Mhm.
See, so like I guess making the alternate more explicit might be helpful.
Mhm.
The alternate way is to slow and steady wins the race.
Mhm.
And so like between those two ways of kind of like designing your life and career, like what do you think helps people lean towards one or the other?
I think you are born that way. Like, and
Really?
I think you've met even babies, right? You can tell when, when they're even toddlers, like their personality. Like you're either a slow and thoughtful, methodical person, or you are a fast, chaotic person. Like it's
Hmm.
pretty. I feel like it's pretty apparent. And where the suffering lies is when a fast person tries to be slow, or a slow person tries to be fast.
So I don't think I agree at all. I
Really?
think I think that we have like a set of nature things. And also I pulled up this space to be. Thanks for
I
dropping
think
by,
that's
space to be.
at no on Farcaster.
Oh, cool. But like I agree, like being able to say whoopsie and move on is a superpower.
Hmm.
Insert your favorite word for whoopsie. Mine is fuck. But anyway, the like nature matters a lot because it kind of helps you figure out what your like baseline is. But like so like I ran the freshman training program at my military college. My senior year was part of like the training throughout the previous 2 years when I wasn't in the training. And then I've obviously trained platoons in the Army and then taught at the Army's officer candidate school. So like I've thought about like, can you figure out if someone is gonna like be good at being an officer? Because that's what I was like training. Can you figure out if that like from the start, if someone is gonna succeed or not in the training?
Oh,
Uh,
right. You are. See, I still imagine you as like, like a Bob Ross, like, before he was a drill sergeant yelling at everybody, molding them into men.
I
And
mean,
then now,
and women. We
oh,
like
oh yeah,
honestly
whoops.
the maybe like
Accidentally
one of the
sexist.
top five badasses I ever met in the military was
Hmm.
this like incredible woman. She like was a D1 soccer player. Anyway,
Oh.
long story short, she like
Hmm.
we were going through one big training event and like I noticed her like running. We were like running in boots and stuff. And she was like kind of stumbling. And I was like, what the fuck is up with, I can't remember her name. Or I'm not going to put it in public if I'm being honest. But so I saw her kind of like stumble. I was like, hey, what the fuck? What's up? Like, you're usually on
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And she's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And I'm like, what? And then I looked down, the backs of her boots just soaked through with blood. She had gotten like dual blisters on her heels at some point during this like really intense day. And
Hmm.
just for miles had just been like, just fucking giddy it up through this like giant. It was ridiculous. I made her stop and got like bandages on it, whatever. But she was like,
Hmm.
like, fuck you. I'm going to finish the day. And I was like, hell yeah. But anyway, what are we talking? So we're like, but so like there's people like that aren't like that on day one.
Hmm.
And there's people that like take like I kind of view it as you jump into a new situation and the way people process new situations is very different. And
Hmm.
like some ways are better in some situations, other ways are better in other situations. But like since every single trial is usually a combination of like short-term stress and long-term stress,
Hmm.
like different people are better at different parts of it. But like you
But do
can
people
learn.
change? Like, but I feel like this is a special situation, though. Since in the military, you break people down and build them back up. But this is not something that we can do in a non-extreme setting ourselves.
I fully disagree. I actually think one of
Really?
the biggest, yeah, like I think one of the biggest mistakes in the private sector is not being more deliberate about developing people. Like
Hmm.
college is mostly accidentally developing people with grades attached. Like
Hmm.
I think you can take a group of people that are committed. Like you obviously don't want to like kidnap people, but like
Hmm.
if someone is like, hey, I really I really want to be, we can be lame and say investment banking, but like startups or even like meditation and stuff. Like if somebody is willing,
Hmm.
I think everyone has like a box that they can kind of stretch within so that their default isn't just like, oh, I'm always the slow person. It's like a hey, I will gravitate towards the slow in the absence
Hmm.
of information, but I
Hmm.
have like developed myself into somebody that understands how I perform best in the context of these like different types of problems that I have to solve.
Hmm.
And so
I
like,
think that's closer to what I'm
yeah,
trying to say. It's like there, of course, you can change. Hopefully, I feel like
yeah,
even just hanging around you, I've been less crazy as I was in the beginning. Um,
or more.
Yeah,
You're different
or
crazy.
more insane. Yeah. But here, like I brought up this comment by Gil, like I'm not slow, I'm just taking my time to making sure every script is made before I dive in. This relates to an essay you linked me when I was asking for
Ooh.
counterpoints to what I was trying to
Ooh.
say.
Yeah. I appreciate the plug. Oh, do you have it up? I don't. But the post is about pre-optimizing your life. And it's honestly one of the ones that I mean, when you make stuff, you kind of decide whether you like the thing that you made or not. I think that should be kind of like separate to whether you post it, because I think most creators should post more of the things that they're like unsure about.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, this post, oh, thank you for dropping it in the chat. This post was like a letter to myself to like get the fuck out of my own way, because like we're all ambitious on varying degrees of ambition, but we all like really care about the stuff we do is probably a better way
Mm-hmm.
to say it. But like when you really care about stuff, sometimes you stop yourself from sharing it or even working on it because you care about it so much that you don't want to fuck it up. And like I don't know what
I
your
think
experience.
that's every moment. Every decision I make around work is that. That's it.
Like it's straight up the Michael Scott, like, yeah, my weaknesses is I care too much sometimes, but like it's real.
Exactly.
It's super real, and it's super scary as somebody who.
Well, but here's an example though, just to make this less abstract and more concrete.
Yep.
So between us discussing the flow of the show, like I had an issue where I wanted to send out some cold outreach DMs. And I was like, oh, I wasn't sure if I was missing the mark. And then you sent me this essay, and I was like, I guess I should send it. But what I did instead is I ran it through a friend who's really good at cold outreach. And then she like workshopped my message. And now I'm like, oh, okay, now I feel a lot better. So it's like that where it's like maybe I could have sent it and then that person would have ignored it. And then do I get a second shot is the problem, right? Because a lot of these famous people, it's like I feel like you only get a few shots before they mute you, you know?
Yeah, I think yes and no. I think so. I hate fucking simping for all the tech leaders, because like I don't think that they need more simping. But Chris Dixon has a good micro post about like, if you didn't get told no today, you're not asking enough and you're not stretching enough, like in so many words. And so like I think
Oh, that one. Okay, that was a good one.
Yeah, like it is important to know that like even the people that won eventually got mostly no's. In fact, no is the default state. Actually, so I want to put this one up because Sam is right.
I know. I was contemplating, should I put that one up?
Chris Dixon, I read your book. I live casted, or I casted my review of it, and you liked it. But also, Read Write Fart's really funny.
Yeah, all publicity is good publicity. Plus, his book spawns everywhere, like tribbles in Star Trek. So,
yeah, well, so I think the Chris. Here's my. Let me put on my tinfoil hat. Andreessen Horowitz is in the midst of a multi-year reputation laundering campaign for the crypto industry. Period. Like that. Like that's what I think is happening. And so I think that like Read Write Own is like the first volley, or one of the first like public volleys in making crypto not universally hated by everybody on the internet. And it's starting with coastal fucking professors and journalists and whatever, and so they're going to suck up to those folks. So that's my thought, and like obviously that's good for us in our bags, but like
right. But I think your essay is like, you know, super nerdy math shit. But then what I saw that related to my situation was that I was optimizing for good and I sacrificed a lot of timing. And I think that's always the invisible sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, and okay, to be honest, I still haven't sent the DMs. Like they're still sitting my thing. I know.
That's okay. No, I mean we talked about that. We're gonna wait to see how this one would go.
Right. But then I think the key is like, you know, because timing sacrifice is always invisible, you would never know. Like, how can my brain actually process that there is a hidden opportunity cost?
Yeah. So I think that like, I mean, there's another armyism. I forget if this is like a Churchill. It's some general quote. But it's like an okay plan executed violently is better than the perfect plan like executed later. And so
Is that
like
a Charles Patton quote? I'm trying to figure out where that's from.
it's I think it I don't think it's a patent quote, but I think he stole it and said it somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like, but like that's not an excuse to do dumb shit.
Mhm.
It's like hidden in there is the same reason why everybody talks about startups like launch early, launch faster, launch when you're embarrassed about your product. Like
Mhm.
all those are saying is do more right now and like with extra steps. And like the reason why you do more right now is because the only way you really understand how the world is going to react to the things that you do is by fucking doing them and then like
Mhm.
reading the signal. And
Mhm.
so
So
the
how can we be sure that we're not burning the one shot?
I think the idea that you only have one shot is almost always a myth. Like,
Oh.
yes, the big sponsor might not respond to your fucking thing because
Mhm.
they're busy or life goes
Mhm.
on, but like if I'm gonna pull a DeWolfie sales like thing in here, I'm gonna say
Mhm.
like, well, a no in sales is almost always just a not right now. Like very
Oh, yeah,
rarely is it.
really?
Yeah,
I thought not a no is not right now. I didn't realize that no is also not right now.
yeah, no is also not right now. Uh,
Oh,
and so like
okay.
the
This is mind-blowing to me, by the way. I'm having a moment.
like so I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like
Mhm.
my like so I graduated college and then I had 6 months before I was supposed to start the army.
Mhm.
And so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna fucking live at the beach because like I had a 4 years in military college and I'm gonna do at least 4 years in the army and I want to
Mhm.
chill for a little bit. And so I lived in Ocean City, Maryland, which if anybody in the chat knows Ocean City, Maryland, it's not Venice Beach. It's basically the Jersey Shore in Maryland. But I was a beach cold sales photographer because they do this thing called scopes, which is
Mhm.
basically like little keychains. And
Mm.
so, like, college grad Cam is running around shirtless on the beach with my little scopes keychain, being with and a camera, and being like, "Ready for your scopes? Ready for your scopes?" And I'm just trying to get these families.
Mhm.
Sam, thanks for dropping by. But I'm trying to get these families to stand up, and I take like 20 pictures. I run through my like predetermined poses, and
Mhm.
I'm like trying to get 30 families shot every day. And then like the way that it actually works is like they get a little slip, they can come by the shop later in the week. A lot of times people will get like multiple days worth done, and then it's like a closeout of the trip is they'll get a CD or a flash drive and like all the keychains with their stuff.
Mhm.
But that whole job is literally almost naked running up to strangers being like, hey, do something weird with a stranger and also maybe pay me for it later. And so like the reality, like I learned viscerally that like the family that says no at 11 a.m.,
Mhm.
by the time they get to the afternoon, they've run out of things to do at the beach. Cause like, so my manager at the job,
Oh, wow. What an experience.
it was crazy. But so like
Yeah.
the manager at the job, total
Mhm.
skis bag. Like who else works with a bunch of college age kids at the beach for their entire life? Like just not the greatest dude, but he had a brilliant thing. And he's just like,
Mhm.
look, man, you got to realize the beach is just a desert next to the
Mhm.
fucking water. There's
Mhm.
nothing to do.
Mhm.
And I've never thought about like beaches differently or like that's how I think about beaches like since then. But so
Mhm.
like by the end of the day, most of the people that I had cold approached, like they saw me run by them because we had a section of the beach. They saw me run by them 3, 4 times. They got bored. Their kids got interested, whatever, and then all I had to do was come up and like, give me five, get a high five from the kid, say, I'll race you down to the water. And then we like run down and I'm already taking photos.
Mhm.
Right. So, but yeah, so like no is just not right now, almost always, except in consent in relationships, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna add that disclaimer because I realized, ooh, we're running very close to a certain slogan there.
I got you.
But yes, consent is important.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is really fascinating. I feel like, we've had a really great chat today.
Hell yeah.
So what we want to tell you is that we're actually back on Thursday, in the
Different time
evening.
zones.
Yeah, different time zones. So it's 7 p.m. Pacific and 8, 9, 10,
10,
10, yeah, 10
10
p.m.
Eastern
Eastern.
time.
Yeah, and 2 a.m. UTC. So that
Yeah.
will hopefully, we'll get a very different late night kind of crowd, late night energy.
Good
Um,
energy.
yeah. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe to our events calendar, but hit the one that says subscribe to all events,
Yeah, and
because if you
subscribe to this
subscribe
channel.
exactly, and to this channel. Because if you hit the one that's only for Tuesday, you're not getting notified for the other ones. So please, yeah, frame buttons are very confusing. So please hit the one that says subscribe to all events.
Hell yeah. And we'll drop links here. We'll drop links in the OK Banger. Watch out
Mhm.
for clips. We'll figure out how to get the community clipping stuff too. But like overall, this was fun as fuck. Definitely not gonna just cut and run after this. Wasn't sure, but we're like I don't know, Kristen, you have fun?
All
Hell
good.
yeah. Thanks for dropping by, y'all.
All right, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to play the outro song. So sorry. We actually have an intro song, but I
Oh,
totally
we
clicked
fucked
the
that
wrong
up.
button. So we'll
Totally
play it
fucked
next
this
time.
up. That's
Oh,
okay.
yeah, this is our outro.
Like and subscribe. Smash that bell. That was good. I think this is pretty good.